Hello everybody, this is Kalthoff and I am with Stamping to Share. I am a very happy Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for the last, I think it's like 13, 14 years, something like that. I love my job and I'm very excited to share with you today a really cute card that uses the Sweet Ice Cream Bundle. And this is a really cool card. Did you notice the sentiment? It says, "You're so cool," and I do think you are. Thank you for being a part of my community. And this is also my kit to go this month. So the last day to order the kit to go, I believe, is Monday. This coming Monday, I think that's the 12th. Yes, Monday the 12th is the last day to get the kit. So be sure you ask me about it if you're interested in getting the kit. So I think I'm going to flip the camera down and show you everything we're using today. So just give me a second to do that and we'll get officially started making this card. Let me share with you all the goodies we have on my desk here. So we have the bundle. I put the punch in the bundle, even though we're not using the punch today, but the kit to go will feature the bundle, which is the punch and the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set. Really cute punch, and you can use it directly on designer series paper. I'll talk about that in a second, to make really cute ice cream cones, which will really speed up the card making if you love doing that. I love doing that because I love to be a kind of a speedy stamper, I'll tell you the truth. All right, so then the other thing is we'll also be using the layering circles, which look like this, and I'll be sharing with you which ones we'll use in a minute. We also have the Sweet Ice Cream Corner Designer Series paper. Oh my goodness, this is such a fun paper, and look at all of these different colors that are a part of this paper pack. So really cool designs, and I love working with it. It's so much fun. And the array of colors today on our card, wow, look at that, quite an array. So I'm bringing the card in to show you what we're doing here. One thing you might notice is, well, why do you have cinnamon cider in here? Well, it's because it is kind of a big part of the card. You have the "You're so cool" at the top, stamped in cinnamon cider, and then you've got the sticks down here, also stamped in cinnamon cider. So that those two things kind of tie together and really make the card kind of stand out with a little bit of a neutral color in there. Otherwise, we have a lot of brights, regals, subtles. So let me just go around the wheel here and I'll share with you the different colors we're using. So we're starting out with basic white, and then we've got the cinnamon cider, old olive. I've got rich raspberry here. You could also substitute blackberry bliss if you prefer. And then we've got Bermuda Bay and Highland Heather. Oh, and I forgot one. Oh my goodness, did you just hear me say that? I just said ope. That's a Minnesota word. All right, I forgot one. I should have put in there so saffron. Excuse me, the frog's in my throat again. So saffron. It would also be considered part of this color wheel. I just forgot to throw it in. All right. I just love this card, and I hope you do too. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you now how to create it. So the first thing you want to have is some cardstock to create your card base, which I've cut at 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. I've got my bone folder here. I'm going to fold this down and crease that on the spot where I have it. I use my Simply Scored tool to make that crease. So here we have our cards, our card base. This is what you call a card base. I like to do the inside panel because it helps me get some things off my desk. So I've got my inside panels are going to be some basic white paper cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And we are going to be doing a layering strip at the bottom of this panel, 3/4 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue, and we will attach that strip right here at the bottom of this basic white panel. So I just put a little glue at the bottom. I like using glue because I can wiggle it. You all know that. It's great. There we go. Wiggle it into place. And I pre-did this panel before we got started with the video, so we didn't have to take so much time. Now I'm going to grab my happy birthday, because this will be a birthday card. I don't think I showed you what the inside looks like. So the outside says "You're so cool." The inside says "Happy birthday." So I'm going to take my Bermuda base Stampin' pad. I'm going to ink up the happy birthday. And then we can go ahead and stamp this right here. And we're going to do the exact same thing over here. Looks fantastic. Let's just, you know what, let me get this closed up. Well, actually, I do have to use it fairly soon, so I'm just going to leave it and hope I don't get my fingers on it. We're going to take some Stampin' Seal, going to flip these over, and we'll put a little Stampin' Seal on the back. And then they're ready to go onto the inside panel of our card, and we'll have the inside panel complete. So just open up your card and throw that in. So there's one. And here is the second one. And I do give away both of the cards that I make, so you can get in the drawing if you're here on Facebook just by commenting. Maybe let me know where you're watching from, or you can also share it on your timeline or with your friends. I really appreciate that. So the next thing that we're going to focus on is the front panel. I think it's probably a good idea to do a little stamping here and letting that set for a little bit so that I don't mess that up. So I'm going to show you how I created these circles. So let me grab my pieces of paper here. So you'll need a basic white circle, and I use the second largest. So this is the largest straight edge, and this is the second largest. I also took a scallop circle that I created with the second largest scallop. So this one's the largest, this one's the second largest. So those are the two dies that I used from layering circles to create the image that we're going to do all this stamping on. I will also need a piece of scrap basic white, and that is because you may have noticed there's a little bit of an overlay for the sticks that go onto these really cool treats, and so you will need scrap in order to do that. So I've got that ready to go as well. So let me go ahead and show you how this is done. So we're going to take the scrap first, and I've got my cinnamon cider right here. So that's the first thing we're going to stamp. And there's two little stamps in the stamp set that make really cute wooden sticks. And I know they're wooden because there's actually a wood grain that goes in. That's the one I want to stamp first, is this wood grain image. So I'm going to stamp that like this. And I've got another one that I'm going to use, so I'll stamp that. And then I would keep stamping, except that I did pre-do a couple of these. So let me go ahead and stamp the second overlay over the top. Because if you're making two cards, you would need 4 of these, because there'll be 2 of these little sticks on each card. Now I'll hold this up to the camera, hopefully close enough that you can see that the wood grain actually does show up. It's really neat. The other thing we're going to need to stamp on this card is at the top of this basic white circle, we're going to stamp "You're so cool" again with the cinnamon cider. So I've got that inked up, and I'm just putting it right here at the top. That is kind of my guideline to know how to stamp everything else that's going to be stamped on this circle. Let me get everything out of the way just temporarily here, and I think I'm done with that one. So I'm going to put this all over here. All right, now we are going to use the top part of the cool treats. So you'll notice they're in different colors. So I have one in So Saffron and I have one in Highland Heather. So I'm going to open up my So Saffron, and we're going to stamp that one first. I'm going to bring my Stampin' mat into the picture because this is more of a solid image, so I want a little bit more cushion when I'm stamping this. And I'm inking it up in So Saffron. And I'm going to put this pretty close to the L in You're So Cool. And I just did it at a little bit of an angle, as you can see. The next thing you need is a chamois. So I've got my chamois here, and you want to clean in between stamping because the next color that we're going to use is Highland Heather. In fact, we'll be using our chamois several times today. There we have our Highland Heather, and we're going to open it up. We're going to ink up the other side. See, that's the top part of the You're So Cool treat. But this time I'm going to stamp off once. So I'm going to ink this up, going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp it onto my actual paper here. There we go. So let me hold that up. We have the top part of our main image complete. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to stamp the bottom portion. So we'll be using an image that looks like this. Again, I'm going to leave my Stampin' mat out because this is rather a bold image. So I'm going to stamp the first one that goes over the So Saffron in Bermuda Bay. So I'm inking that up in the Bermuda Bay. And I'm maybe going to have to pull this a little closer to me so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Not too bad. And then we're going to clean it. So again, I'm bringing the chamois in. And now we're going to ink it up with the Rich Razzleberry. So let me go ahead and ink this up in Rich Razzleberry. And then we're going to stamp that over the top of the Highland Heather. Again, to get my face over the top of what I'm doing, I'm going to bring it in just a hair. It's really kind of hard to see this with all the lights and who knows? Well, that didn't turn out quite as great because it's hard to get my head over it when the camera's in my way. But it's good enough for me to share with you how this all goes together. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these little sprinkles and again, using the Rich Razzleberry and the Bermuda Bay, we'll start with the Bermuda Bay. You're going to ink this up and you're going to just stamp it. There we go. So stamp it over the top and you get a little burst of sprinkles over the top of your treat, which looks really cool. And again, then you want to clean it and then do the other side with the Rich Razzleberry. There we go. So it looks like that. Very cool, isn't it? So we're going to set that all aside. And then what you want to do is you want to fussy cut these out, and you're going to put this at the base of your cool treat. So let me set that aside for a second. Let me get the ink out of the way. And because I knew this was going to be difficult to get my head over the top, I pre-did one. And then I have another one ready to go. That is the correct, you know, it's all done. It's basically the same one that I did on camera. So here it is. And what I'm going to do now is I also pre-cut, because you'll have to fussy cut these little sticks. So remember those little sticks I stamped at the beginning? Those are pre-cut. I just fussy cut them with my scissors. And what I'm going to do next is take a little multi-purpose liquid glue and just put a little glue directly underneath where I want those sticks to go beneath my cool treat here. So then I can take the stick and set that on exactly where I want it. And we'll do the exact same thing for this one. And there it is. So all you have to do at this point then is go ahead and put this onto your Bermuda Bay die cut. So we're going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. So let me go ahead and do that. I have to bring it a little bit closer to me so I can see what I'm doing here. Burnish it down from the back, and we have them ready to go onto the tops of our, or into the front of our card. So we're going to set those aside because now there's a little more assembly required here with the front of the card. So I do not have my measurements, but I know what it is. So let me put this on here. I went ahead and I pre-cut some designer series paper to 4 by 5 1/4. And it's the design that has the olive green and the dots on. That's going to be the front of the card. Then we have, again, some Bermuda Bay strips. And these are 1 3/8 by 5 1/4. And so we can go ahead and actually put these right onto our card, onto this, I should say it's like a panel that we're going to be putting onto the card base, but we're going to complete the panel with these strips before we actually put it onto the card. So these should fit in here fairly well. So there's one, and then we're going to quickly do this second one here. So again, this is cut at 1 3/8 by 5 1/4. And then just set that in. So it's, I don't know, maybe a little bit more than a 1/2 inch from the left side. Then we have some fun cool treat paper that coordinates with what we just stamped. The inspiration for what we just stamped. So these are 1 1/4 inch strips, and what you want to do is just add some multi-purpose liquid glue to that Bermuda Bay panel that you just put down. And then you can set this in wherever you want it and just wiggle it into place so you have a little skinny line on either side of this strip. We're going to do the same thing with this one. And again, I'm just going to set this in. And just wiggle that into place. Then what you can do is take a scissors, flip it over, and you're going to trim it flush with the edge. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Flip it, trim it flush. And we are ready to start up. We can put this panel now on the front of our card. We're almost done with this really cute card. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to bring the card base back into the picture. I'm going to flip this over and we're going to add some multi-purpose liquid glue to the back. And then we're going to set this on and just wiggle that into place so it's perfect. And that looks great. And we're going to do the exact same thing with this next one. All of the paper in this designer series paper pack is so pretty. It's hard to put glue on any of it because you like both sides so much. So in that case, just go ahead and get 2 paper packs. That way you have a full paper pack of one side of the paper and a full paper pack of the other side of the paper. And you won't be lacking for a while. It'll go a long way for you. All right, so here we are. We have these beautiful little strips through here. Now we're going to add these. And you're going to put them about right in the middle. So we're going to do that with Stampin' Dimensionals. So I'm going to flip this over and we'll add our dimensionals. And I'll probably just do 3 on each of these. Saves a little time that way. Plus 3 is solid on a circle. There we go. Kind of like the 3-legged stool concept. All right, so go ahead and set this in maybe a tad towards the bottom, but just set it in like this. Make sure your So Cool is pretty, you want that to be straight across. And then just set the second one in. There we go. Now we're going to add the finishing touch. So the finishing touch, here it is. It's some basic white baker's twine, and this is from the snail mail combo pack. So I think it was petal pink and basic white that was part of that combo pack. So you're just going to take your twine and you're going to double it up. And then I'm going to snip this end. So you are doubling up your twine and you're just going to tie a bow. My fingers are kind of sore from all the cleaning I did yesterday, so I did pre-tie one of these bows in advance just because it kind of hurts to use my fingers today. All right, so here we go. We've got that ready. Then we're going to snip this. And then we're going to use a glue dot to put this onto our card. So one thing I like to do is grab that glue dot. Oops, I have to flip my pick here. I use the Take Your Pick tool to grab that glue dot. Then I kind of squish it together to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to put it directly over the top of the You're So Cool. I'm going to do that on both sides. Or I should say on both cards. And again, just set that in right over the top of the You're So Cool. Then I've got my little bows here, and we're going to take these little bows and we're just going to set those right over the top of the glue dot. And I know I just made one, and of course, once you know, I can't find it. Oh, it's hiding. It's right here. And there it is. And that just kind of makes the card, just adds a cute little accent. Wouldn't you agree? So here are the completed cards. They're so much fun. I just love them. And I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial too, learning how to really make some really cute cards with the Sweet Ice Cream Bundle. Again, the last day to get my kit to go is April 12th. And then on April 13th, I'll place the order and I'll get it all out in the mail to you before the end of April. Have a great day, everyone. I truly appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.